I started law school at night when I was in my 40s, a couple of decades into a career as a librarian. 3 nights a week before I left for class, I felt like I was going to throw up. I loved school, but the Socratic method of teaching, where the professor asked questions and toyed with the student until he or she was finished, was intimidating. At the end of the semester, one exam decided my entire grade. It was awful. The way for me to get clarity about the law was through writing. My writing earned me a spot on the Law Review, one of the school's highest honors. One of the Law Review requirements was to write a paper of publishable quality. I decided to write on the litigation over Google's mass digitization of library materials. Publishers and authors had sued Google for copyright infringement, and Google claimed fair use as a defense. My advisor for the paper was Don Hughes, the director of the law library. He scheduled our first meeting about my paper only a few days before it was due. My argument was that Google's digitization should be fair use because it was helpful to libraries and to scholarship. Don wasn't buying it. He said, "You must start with the law, not with social arguments or with sympathetic commentary. Start with the copyright statutes and then move to the cases. Grokster, Ticini, Eldred. We all wish the law said all sorts of things, but your job is to deal with the law's reality. I see that you quote Lessig, the copyright activist, and you quote the dissent from Eldred. I don't mean to be unkind, but who won Eldred?" Lessig lost Eldred, I had to admit. The Supreme Court rejected his arguments. Don sighed. Being a lawyer and a librarian is interesting. But you can't let your role as a librarian interfere with your analysis of the law. In conclusion, he said, "You've written one of the best explanations of the Google project I've ever read. But if you don't analyze the law in your paper, I won't be able to recommend it as publishable." I staggered home, allowed myself to cry for about 10 minutes, and then spent all weekend rewriting my paper. When I finished, I had crossed another threshold toward becoming a lawyer. Today, those cases that were so difficult for me then are my friends, and I read new cases in the light of their holdings. Doctors, nurses, faculty, students, and others who consult me want to use copyrighted material for purposes that have great social utility for teaching, research, and scholarship. My job is to do what my advisor did for me and help them look at the law as it is, not as they wish it would be.